Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool. This is kind of an interesting tool. This is a Crescent wire crimping tool. It's actually a very specific kind of crimping, and it's got an unusual way of cutting wires that, as far as I can tell, doesn't work. It is a forged tool. It is inexpensive. It's a little over 10 bucks if you have a need for such a thing. It's designed for non-insulated ferrules, wire crimping basically across various sizes. It has only, in this case, metric numbers written on it. The metric size is basically the diameter of the wire, and of course it's the opposite of our standard gauge here in the US, where the larger the number, the larger the wire diameter, whereas the gauge, the larger the number, the smaller the diameter. So I wrote some of the corresponding numbers on here so you can see 1 is about an 18 gauge, 1.5 is about a 16, 2.5 is a 14, and 4 is a 12. Those are kind of some of the common ones. It's not perfect though. And again, it is designed for non-insulated connectors. It would be really nice if they had just thrown an extra, kind of non-insulated or insulated connector or insulated crimper on there, so you could use it with things. You can see here that's what it would look like on this little snap-on one, just a little insulated thing. And it's got a large range, so it extends beyond, say traditional automotive use. That cutting jaw is kind of weird. I'm not sure why they did that. Here is I think this 14 gauge stranded wire. We'll go ahead and stick that in and see what happens. Nice, right? I guess. What about a solid core wire? Here's I think it's a 12 gauge solid. So throw that in. Let's see what happens here. Actually, I don't know what that thing on the front end is for. This is made in China. It is from the Knipex Tool Group, which owns Crescent. It is not too different, though, from this Knipex one, which is made in Germany and sells for over $50, at least with the comfort grip handles. The interesting thing, though, is if we take a look at the inside of this, it's kind of a line this thing up. If you look at a couple of things. One is this has one like solid bar across the top. Let me show you maybe without the light there. And then you can see how it closes in. Compare that to the Knipex. The Knipex here has essentially a 2 teeth. A little tough to see, but it's a completely different mechanism. Throw that so you can see how those close, and then that's the closing. I'll do both of them here at the same, so you can see like if we take the 6 here and the 6 here, 6 millimeter, you can see just how big a gap the Crescent has versus the Knipex, right there and right there, if you're following what I'm doing here. If we go to the 16, you can see it pretty obvious there that the Crescent just has this little tiny dimple, whereas the Knipex has a great big one. Same with the 10, all the way down. There's just almost like barely any crimping going on. If we look at this 1.5 right there versus get the 1.5 up here, just that's that guy. Get a little pointer here. Right here, you can just see, turn it so you can see the gap right there. There's my pointer coming in. So as far as the quality of the crimp, I have my doubts. It is longer. It's putting it into that. It's kind of what caught my attention. It's putting into that that extended reach or high leverage version of a crimping tool, which is what I liked about this. One of the things that I mentioned when I did the video showing these kind of dedicated crimping cutting tools. But I don't know what to think here. It's kind of a pretty blocky, beefy. In fact, up at the top, I'd have to say wildly overbuilt for the little tiny bit of crimping force that you're going to generate. So that's where the Knipex really shines. However, it's, you know, $10. So there's that. It is for very specific kinds of crimping. And obviously this is a problem because, as I mentioned in my videos about these kinds of tools, grab the ideal one here, USA made. This little cutting jaw right up at the front is what I absolutely loved about these things, is to be able to just nip things off, get everything ready, and then do my crimping. Whereas with something like this Snap-on, they've decided to go with more of a plier or a gripping surface on the front end, then the crimper, and then putting the cutting teeth down here. And sometimes you can't get the cutting teeth over the wire that far, you know, to make the kind of cut you want. Anyway, so there it is. The product number on this is the CTWIREC. You can get them on Amazon, Home Depot, etc. But it is a funny little tool. Very specific, and what's odd is even though it's very specific, it doesn't appear to do its one job right. Now, I'm not going to crimp anything, simply because there is an entire YouTube genre about crimping wires that I'd have to put in the category of you're doing it wrong. So I don't want to get into any arguments there, but please add your thoughts on crimping tools, crimping technique, and if there are specific aspects to this tool that I've missed. Tried to figure it out. Crescent's website isn't of much help. You have to go into forums to try to understand exactly what's happening and what the people are discovering about it. But I discovered some things pretty quick on my own, so that's not a good sign probably. But anyway, there it is. This is the Crescent wire crimping tool. That's interesting. And with that, Doc out.